A few hours before my brother's wedding, I got a strange message. Don't go to your brother's wedding. Check your husband's garage. At first, I laughed. I thought it had to be a joke. But the moment I opened that garage door, I froze. I couldn't believe my eyes. Before we go any further, tell me in the comments, where are you watching this story from? Now, sit back and enjoy. Emily adjusted the lace collar of her dress, smoothing out non-existent wrinkles on the skirt. Today was a special day, the wedding of Daniel, her younger brother. The whole family had been eagerly awaiting this event. Daniel was the life of the party, everyone's favorite, and they all wished him happiness with Vanessa. As the older sister, Emily felt particularly tender about it. She'd seen how Daniel had blossomed beside Vanessa, how his eyes lit up. Sunlight flooded the apartment, filling it with pre-celebration bustle. Mom fussed in the kitchen, baking traditional pies. Dad checked the guest list, while Emily finished getting ready. Marcus, her husband, had already left, citing an urgent client meeting. "Don't worry, darling, I'll come straight to the ceremony," he'd said, kissing her goodbye. There was nothing unusual in his voice, but Emily felt uneasy for some reason. She glanced in the mirror. The reflection showed a confident, successful, loved woman. Emily worked as an accountant at a large company and prided herself on her stability and level-headedness. 10 years of marriage to Marcus seemed cloudless to her. Sure, there were minor arguments and misunderstandings, but overall, their life was steady and happy. Or so she thought. Her phone vibrated in her hand. An unknown number. Emily frowned. A short message appeared on the screen. "Don't go to the wedding. Better check your husband's garage." Her heart skipped a beat. What did this mean? Who sent it? Emily tried to gather her thoughts. Maybe it was some silly prank or a mistake, but something inside wouldn't let her rest. The ominous silence that hung in the apartment after Marcus left now felt even more oppressive. She reread the message. "Check your husband's garage." Why? What could be there? Marcus had never hidden anything from her. He'd always been open and honest. Or so it seemed. Emily tried calling Marcus, but he didn't answer. Probably in the meeting, she thought, but the anxiety wouldn't fade. She felt panic building inside. She tried distracting herself by helping Mom in the kitchen, but her thoughts kept returning to the message. "Don't go to the wedding. Check the garage." The words embedded themselves in her memory like splinters. Emily knew she had to do something. She couldn't just ignore it. But what? Go to the garage? That would be foolish. Marcus would be offended, think she didn't trust him. But if she didn't go, how could she shake this gnawing worry? She looked at the clock. A few hours remained until the ceremony. Marcus should arrive any minute, but he was still absent. Suddenly, Emily remembered the spare garage key. Marcus had once mentioned making a duplicate just in case. She couldn't recall where he'd put it at first, but then it came to her in the old jewelry box with keepsakes. Her hands trembled as she opened the box. There it was, the key. A small piece of metal that could upend her life. Emily hesitated. Was it worth it? Worth disrupting her family's peace over some anonymous message? But curiosity and anxiety overpowered her fear. She decided to go quietly so no one would notice. Just check and confirm everything was fine, then return and forget the stupid message. Emily slipped out of the apartment, trying not to make noise. Her parents didn't notice. She went downstairs and out into the street. The sun blinded her eyes, but Emily felt no warmth. Inside, she was cold and anxious. The garage wasn't far, just a few blocks. Emily walked briskly, trying not to think about what awaited her. She approached the garage complex. Rows of gray metal boxes lined the road. Emily found the right number, Marcus's garage. Her heart pounded wildly in her chest. She pulled out the key and inserted it into the lock. The mechanism clicked, and the door opened. Inside, it was dark and damp. It smelled of gasoline and old tires. Emily turned on her phone's flashlight and looked around. Marcus's car was there, an old sedan. Tools, spare parts, and old items lined the shelves. Nothing unusual. Emily sighed with relief. Probably a mistake. Just a dumb joke. She was about to leave when she noticed something odd in the corner of the garage. A large cardboard box stood there, covered with an old blanket. Emily approached and pulled back the blanket. Inside were items. A woman's purse, high-heeled shoes, packaging from expensive perfume. Emily recognized these things. They belonged to Vanessa, Daniel's fiancée. Emily felt the ground slip away beneath her feet. What did this all mean? Why were Vanessa's things in Marcus's garage? She grabbed the purse and opened it. Inside were a wallet, makeup bag, keys, and photos. Emily pulled out the photos and looked at them. They showed Marcus and Vanessa, embracing, kissing, holding hands. They were together on vacation in some southern city. They looked happy. Emily felt her world collapsing around her. Betrayal, lies, deceit. Everything she believed in turned out to be false. She kept digging in the box. At the bottom was a folder with papers. Emily opened it and saw notes. It was correspondence between Marcus and Vanessa. Emily started reading. "Darling, I'm so glad you're by my side. Thank you for supporting me. I know I'm doing wrong, but I can't live without you. You're my life. I'm marrying Daniel for the future. You understand it's not for long. Once I'm his wife, we can be together. You'll leave Emily, and we'll be happy." Emily couldn't believe her eyes. Vanessa planned to marry Daniel, then dump him for Marcus. They were both deceiving her brother, her husband, her whole family. Emily felt a wave of anger rising inside. She wanted to scream, cry, smash everything around, but instead, she just stood there, staring at the photos and notes. She realized she had to do something. She couldn't let them ruin Daniel's life. She couldn't let them go unpunished. Emily pulled out her phone and photographed all the evidence. The purse, shoes, photos, notes. She knew it would hurt, but she had to tell Daniel the truth. Emily understood it was risky. If Marcus found out she'd been in the garage, he might destroy the evidence or come up with some excuse, so she had to be careful. After photographing, Emily carefully put everything back in the purse and returned it to its place. She tried not to touch anything, to avoid leaving fingerprints. Then she turned off the light and left the garage. Chaos reigned in Emily's mind. She didn't know what to do next. Go to the wedding and pretend nothing happened, or tell Daniel the truth right away? Emily realized a wedding wasn't the place for such discussions. There would be lots of people, everyone celebrating and having fun. Not the right setting for confessions of infidelity and exposing devious plans. She decided to call Daniel and ask for a meeting. She needed to talk to him alone, in a calm environment. She had to show him the photos and printouts of the messages. She had to convince him Vanessa was deceiving him. Emily pulled out her phone and dialed Daniel's number. The rings dragged on agonizingly. Finally, he answered, "Hey, Em. Something wrong? Why aren't you at the wedding yet?" Daniel asked, sounding worried. "Daniel, I need to talk to you urgently. It's very important," Emily replied, trying to sound as calm as possible. "What happened? Tell me," Daniel insisted. "Can't over the phone. It's too personal." "Let's meet," Emily suggested. "Now? But it's my wedding," Daniel protested. "I know, but it concerns Vanessa," Emily said, trying not to reveal her emotions. Daniel fell silent for a few seconds, then sighed and said, "Fine. Where?" "Let's meet by the back entrance of the restaurant in half an hour," Emily proposed. "Okay, I'll be waiting," Daniel replied and hung up. Emily exhaled. The hardest part was still ahead. She had to tell her brother about his fiancée's betrayal. She knew it would be incredibly tough. Daniel loved Vanessa deeply and dreamed of a happy family life, but she couldn't let him make a mistake. She had to protect him from the pain and disappointment. Emily got in her car and drove to the restaurant. The whole way, she thought about how to choose the right words. She didn't want to hurt Daniel, but she couldn't hide the truth either. She needed to find a balance. Arriving, she saw Daniel standing at the entrance. He looked agitated and concerned. Emily parked and got out of the car. "What's wrong, Em? Why so serious?" Daniel asked, approaching her. Emily silently pulled the photos and notes from her bag and handed them to Daniel. "See for yourself," she said. "You need to know the truth." Daniel took the photos and began examining them. At first, he smiled, thinking it was some joke, but then his face grew serious and tense. He flipped through the pages, unable to believe his eyes. "This? What is this?" he muttered when he reached the notes. Emily stayed silent, watching his reaction. She saw the light fading from his eyes, his face paling, his hands starting to shake. Daniel read all the notes to the end, then lifted his head and looked at Emily. Tears stood in his eyes. "This can't be true," he said in a trembling voice. "It's some mistake." "I wish it were a mistake, Daniel, but it's true," Emily replied. "I saw it all myself in Marcus's garage." Daniel lowered his eyes to the photos again. He stared at them, as if seeing them for the first time. "I don't understand. Why? Why did she do this?" he asked into the void. Emily approached and hugged him. "I know it hurts so much right now, but you have to be strong. You have to accept the truth and move on," she said. Daniel pulled away and wiped his tears. "What do I do now?" he asked. "The wedding's in an hour. All the guests are gathered." "You have to cancel the wedding," Emily replied. "You can't marry a woman who doesn't love you and plans to use you," Daniel pondered. He knew Emily was right, but it was hard to accept. He'd dreamed of this wedding. He'd waited so long. "I don't know how I'll do it," he said. "I don't know what to tell the guests." "I'll help you," Emily replied. "We'll do it together." Emily took Daniel's hand. "Come on, we need to cancel the wedding," she said. The decision wasn't easy, but looking into his sister's eyes, he realized she was right. He couldn't continue this farce. He couldn't start a life based on lies. Daniel approached Vanessa. "Danny, darling, I'm so nervous." "Vanessa, there won't be a wedding," he said, trying to speak as calmly as possible. Silence fell. "What? What are you saying? Are you joking?" Panic crept into her voice. "I know everything, Vanessa. I know about you and Marcus. I saw your notes, your photos. This isn't true. It's slander. Who told you that? It doesn't matter. What matters is I know the truth, and I'm not marrying a woman who's deceiving me." "How dare you?" she screamed, jabbing a finger at Daniel. "How dare you cancel the wedding? Do you realize what you've done?" "I realize you tried to deceive me," Daniel replied calmly. "And I didn't let you. It's all her." Vanessa turned to Emily. Her eyes flashed with lightning. "You set this up. You've always been jealous of me." "Don't talk nonsense, Vanessa," Emily replied, trying to stay calm. "I just wanted to protect my brother." "Protect? You just wanted to ruin our happiness. You, Vanessa choked with rage. She tried to hit Emily, but Daniel grabbed her hand. "Leave, Vanessa," he said. His voice was firm and resolute. "Leave, and never show up in my life again." Vanessa yanked her hand free, and casting a venomous glare at them, stormed out of the restaurant. Daniel slumped heavily into a chair. "What now?" he muttered. Soon after the wedding cancellation, Marcus, as if sensing trouble, approached Emily. "Em?" he asked in a worried voice. "What's going on?" Why did Daniel cancel the wedding? Emily, gathering her courage, replied firmly without hesitation. "Because Daniel knows the truth, Marcus. He knows about you and Vanessa." Marcus seemed speechless. Emily felt his panic growing with each second. "What? What are you talking about?" he muttered finally. "It doesn't matter," Emily cut him off. "What's important is it's over. Daniel won't marry your mistress. You told him everything?" Anger and despair laced his voice. "You ruined it on purpose?" "I saved him and myself from a mistake, Marcus," Emily replied, staying calm. "And you? You ruined everything with your betrayal. You'll regret this. I won't forgive you." And he ran off. Emily sighed heavily. She knew Marcus wouldn't let it go. He'd seek revenge, but she wasn't afraid. She was no longer the naive, trusting woman she'd been. The betrayal had made her stronger. Soon after that conversation, Marcus left the house. He packed his things and, without a word, drove off in an unknown direction. Emily didn't stop him. She understood their marriage was dead. It died the moment she found the red purse in the garage. Silence settled in the empty apartment. Emily sat on the couch and closed her eyes. It hurt. It was offensive and scary, but she knew she had to move on. She had to start a new life. The next few days flew by in a haze. Emily handled divorce paperwork, talked to a lawyer, and tried to recover from everything. It was hard, but she held on for Daniel's sake. She knew it wasn't easy for him either. One evening, Daniel came to visit her. He looked pale and tired, but a new spark appeared in his eyes. "Thanks, Em," he said, hugging her. "You saved me. I don't know what I'd do without you." "I'll always be there, Danny," Emily replied. "We'll get through everything together." "I know," he said. "I've started thinking about the future. I want to start my own business. I've dreamed of it for so long." "That's a great idea, Danny," Emily encouraged. "I'm sure you'll succeed." That evening, they talked for a long time, making plans for the future and reminiscing about the past. They'd both endured a terrible shock, but they'd stood strong. They'd become tougher. They'd realized the most important things in life were family and the support of loved ones. Emily filed for divorce, and the process went surprisingly smoothly. The lack of a prenup worked in her favor, and the assets accumulated during the marriage were divided equally. The apartment, the car, everything split down the middle. Marcus didn't object, as if eager to shed the past he'd so foolishly destroyed. Emily felt not so much joy from the fair division as relief that the nightmare was finally ending. One evening, while sorting things in the garage and preparing to move, Emily got a call from an unknown number. At first, she wanted to hang up, but something stopped her. Picking up, she heard a man's voice. "Emily, this is Nathan." The name seemed vaguely familiar. "Nathan, sorry, I can't remember," she replied, straining her memory. "I worked with Marcus at the company." "Remember, you came to his office," Nathan prompted. Now Emily recalled. Nathan was one of those quiet employees who always stayed in the background. She'd seen him a couple of times, but never spoken to him. "Yes, I remember." "Something wrong?" Emily asked, sensing trouble. I wanted to tell you something. I know who sent you that anonymous message before Daniel's wedding," Nathan said. Emily's breath caught. "You know who," she blurted, unable to contain her excitement. "It was me," Nathan replied. Emily fell silent, trying to process it. "You? But why?" she finally managed. Bitterness tinged Nathan's voice. "Vanessa, she was with me too, or rather, tried to be. She's very ambitious. Wanted to use me to climb the career ladder. I learned about her plans with Marcus, her intentions toward Daniel. I couldn't let it happen. I knew I had to do something." Emily listened, stunned by the revealed truth. It turned out there was another deceived person in this tangled story, driven by a thirst for revenge. "Why didn't you tell me everything right away?" she asked. "I was afraid. Afraid they wouldn't believe me. Afraid of the consequences. I just wanted the truth to come out. An anonymous message seemed the safest way," Nathan confessed. Emily understood him. Fear was a powerful emotion, capable of paralyzing the will. "Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for the truth. I don't know what I'd have done without that message." She sincerely thanked him. "I just wanted justice. I saw how Marcus betrayed you, how Vanessa deceived Daniel. I couldn't stand by," Nathan replied. The conversation with Nathan flipped everything in Emily's mind. Her salvation came not only from her own intuition and courage, but also from an unexpected ally. Driven by his own motives, she suddenly felt less alone in her struggle. After talking to Nathan, Emily felt a surge of strength. She realized she no longer wanted to live in the past. She was tired of pain, disappointment, and resentment. It was time to move forward, start a new life full of hopes and opportunities. Emily decided to change her surroundings. She sold her share of the apartment and bought a small place in a new part of the city, far from spots that reminded her of the past. She quit her job and found a new, more interesting and promising one. Daniel was gradually recovering too. He found a new job, got into photography, started traveling. He often called Emily, shared his experiences, supported her in everything. Their sibling bond grew even stronger, having endured the trial of betrayal. One day, Emily ran into Marcus on the street by chance. He looked gaunt and aged. Seeing her, he lowered his eyes and tried to pass by, but Emily stopped him. "Marcus, wait," she said. He reluctantly turned. Regret shone in his eyes. "Emily, I wanted to apologize for everything," he muttered. Emily looked at him without anger or resentment. She forgave him not for his sake, but for hers to free herself from the burden of the past and move on. "I forgive you, Marcus. I wish you all the best," she replied and went her way. Emily returned to a peaceful life, but with a clear head and new goals. She understood that betrayal wasn't the end of life, but just the start of a new chapter, a chapter where she was the master of her own fate. She learned to trust herself, value her loved ones, and not fear change. She knew many interesting and unknown things awaited her ahead, and she was ready for them. All right, thanks for listening.